Hello and welcome everyone to Bortnik's YouTube channel. My name is James Talberg and I'm here today with Marina Cherenkova, going to make a quick update about what is happening between the United States and Ukraine. Marina, thank you so much for tuning in today.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you.
What is the latest before we go into the latest update, just a little bit of background. In the past week, we had the confrontation or the argumentative conversation between Trump, Zelensky, and Vance. Now we're seeing the practical outcomes from that conversation, from that meeting in the Oval Office. So, what are the latest updates? What is happening now in terms of the practical reaction from Trump's administration on that situation?
Thank you, James, for the question. I believe that everything is very predictable, and I'm slightly surprised why other people, and especially political analytics or people who are involved in analysis of global policy, are shocked by the decision of Trump administration to pause a military aid to Ukraine. That means that probably some of our colleagues do live in bubble or in illusion. It was very clear for me from the very beginning, even before election, Trump's administration was straightforward and quite clear in verbalizing their intentions. In fairness, James, I would like to outline that even during election campaign, Democrats were towards peace agreement as well. So basically, we are talking that both parties were very explicit and vocal about making peace in Ukrainian-Russian war. But unfortunately for Ukraine, and unfortunately for those who support Ukraine, it was not properly accepted. I mean, that is the reality, James. And the job of political elites in any country in the world is to accept that reality and to transfer the reality into understandable words for the population and to explain that. So basically, there is no any surprise for me. I've been expected that. What worries me are only human lives in Ukraine, because now I do live in the United States of America, but before 2018, I was in Ukraine. From my perspective, at this stage, Ukrainian representatives, as we say, those who involved in statecraft, they have to offer an exit strategy. Despite of all those personal clashes,
Hold on, Marina.
I still believe it is a very normal implementation of the programs and plans which were verbalized even before the election.
When you're talking about the exit strategy, you mean the exit strategy for Ukraine out of the war, or you mean the exit strategy for Zelensky and his team out of that conflict?
Oh, thank you so much for that. Yes, exit strategy out of this conflict. Politics, it's not, it's not a poem. It's a dirty game. And we knew that from the very beginning. And in fairness, that was since ancient times. We should not be caught by surprise. Not at all. So I really do hope that in Ukraine, the diplomatic community would be mobilized now, and both teams, the United States teams and Ukrainian teams, could work heavily on exit strategy from the conflict and on mitigation of this conflict. Just would like to reiterate myself. The military help was paused. And basically, it is very important for us during that pause to start talking. We don't want, exchange in X or in social media. We want in-person conversations with diplomats, with influential group of people.
I just want to clarify a couple of things here. You've mentioned that shouldn't get caught surprised by the pause of the military aid and financial aid to Ukraine. But when you're saying that, you mean that we were not supposed to get caught surprised by that general trend, or specifically after the conflict or the argument has occurred in the White House, in the Oval Office?
What a wonderful observation, James. Thank you. My answer is both. We should not be caught by surprise, neither as representatives of, let's say, Ukrainians, neither as people who are involved in analytics. And I'm really against, during that period of time when the conflict is very hot and it looks like conflict is still in the process of the development, I'm strictly against of any additional fire or additional, conflict situation in mass media or in press.
So
it doesn't help overall for Europe, for Ukraine, and for the United States.
So I want to combine these two things, look at them separately and together. And then I would like to discuss the solution, the exit strategy, as you've mentioned before. How do we get out of that situation? So first, you've mentioned at the beginning that conservatives, the Republicans, and the Democrats, basically in their pre-election statements, they were both hinting. I mean, the Democrats were more hinting and the Republicans were staying it out clear that they want to work towards peace, minimize the aid, the military aid, the financial aid for Ukraine, because it's becoming costly. And obviously, we're not seeing an end and we don't have an exit strategy out of that conflict. So they wanted to discuss the exit strategy, and they were mentioning that, hey, we're going to start reducing and slowing down with the help, because we need an actual plan how to stop the war, because whatever they've been doing for the past 3 years obviously didn't end with a final resolution. So that's one. So this is something that if I was on the Ukrainian team, I should have got ready for, right?
Frankly speaking, James, if you were on the Ukrainian team, you should have read the party programs of Democratic Party, both. And that was, at least available at least 9 months ago, or let maybe 6
9 months
months
before the
ago,
election.
right? Yeah. So by that definition, you should not be caught by surprise. If we are talking about the analytical community, and you should have prepared your decision makers for that scenario. Everything what that Greek tragedy in Oval cabinet did, it's just accelerated the development. That's it.
I'm saying all this is because the Ukrainian team could have foresee a coming, no matter who's winning the election, that the American perspective is going to shift.
Absolutely. Now, and it is not a secret. It's not a conspiracy theory.
It's open public information.
Absolutely open public information. And if you would like to know and to analyze, go and read the programs of both parties.
So, now, knowing that, we can say that the Ukrainian team should and had to prep for that direction. They could have started building their strategy based on that program, which it looks to us that they haven't, unless I'm missing some insights. And then on top of that, the second direction that I want to bring up is the personal conflict between Zelensky and Trump and their teams. So neither that the Ukrainian team haven't prepped and haven't been analytical to take a look at the program and the potential shift of the United States in their foreign affairs and geopolitics, but they went a step ahead and they have escalated it on a personal level. Is that correct?
Unfortunately, it is correct. And you raise topics which is very complicated, and they deserve a separate video. And unfortunately, now we are
absolutely
lack of time.
Update.
Just a couple of remarks from me. We do live not in an ideal world, and I totally understand that. I understand that Ukraine is suffering for almost 10 years, because I would like to remind to everybody that the war has started in 2014 from Donbass, and the active phase of war, definitely it started 3 years ago. However, maybe it is great expectations, as Charles Dickens says, but I'm sure that each political elite in any country and in every country should have several scenarios. And if it is a country which depends on other countries, in politics are much more important for analysis and for discussions and reading basic program documents. And I just would like to outline one more time. We should get rid of romantic attitudes to politics. Politics were never about romance, fair, or justice. Those words, they're just mixing our mentality, mixing our views. It was never like that. Politicians might cover their narratives with the wonderful, fluffy words, but underneath, everything is very pragmatic and everything is very realistic. By the way, $70 billion were provided to Ukraine on financial and humanitarian needs from the United States of America, and $62 billion for the military aid. I would love to discuss now how much it is in process or how much is still left. But unfortunately, James, I just don't have time. I do apologize.
Just to finalize it, Marina, where do we stand now? We had a 9 month of a potential prep that was given the Ukrainian team, the Ukrainian politics, to prep for that shift that we can see right now happening in the foreign affairs, in the politics of the United States towards their partners, towards how they view the geopolitical map at this moment. And then we have this personal conflict between Zelensky and Trump that we have all witnessed a few days ago in the Oval Office. Where do we stand in terms of that conflict and situation at the moment? Because you have mentioned before to me that Zelensky went ahead instead of trying and fixing that situation, and he have published a post. What is that post about? Where are they trying to head with their strategy at the moment, if there is a strategy? And if you can summarize after that, what do you think they should have done instead, and what could have been an exit strategy out of that conflict from the Ukrainian perspective, what they could have done better?
Oh, that's a lot, James. Okay. About tragedy in Oval Office. Yes, it is personal, but just up to some extent. I just would like to remind you who was the first to offer that minerals deal. It was President Zelensky. First, it was offered to President Biden and then to President Trump. Who was the first who wanted to negotiate that deal? It was Ukraine. Who was the first who wanted a meeting in Oval Office? It was Ukraine. So basically, from that perspective, we should ask about great expectation Ukrainians, what kind of strategy they had. I have no slightest idea. What I do believe that everything is fixable, but up to the point. As far as the personal relationship is concerned, I do not believe that they could be fixed. However, we are not living in the feudal era or era. Probably it is the new feudal era. But I think that teams should continue to work. The request from the United States of America to President Zelensky to apologize officially is not a joke. Unfortunately, that's part of the character of current administration. And I suspect that that will not work out according to the White House desire, because Mr. Zelensky, in his post in social media recently, about 2 hours ago, he didn't do that. And that is his character. You know, let us be objective. The personal clashes of the two showmen, very bright people, very charismatic people. So that's how it is. My concerns are with those people who still live in Ukraine, and for those men and women who are not able to leave Ukraine due to the military duty. That's the biggest pain for me.
Marina, thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I just would like to thank you, and I have to go. I do apologize.
Thank you so much, Marina, and we'll be back with more updates. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you, James.